Hello, everyone. Hello, fellow listeners and viewers on the YouTube channel. Welcome to the HumanPerimeter podcast. So, this podcast and the live streams will be basically about cybersecurity. And me, as the business owner of Webnestify, I know cybersecurity from the practical standpoint, but here, Andre, we will be talking more about also the psychology things and thinking why people are doing what they should not do. Is that right, Andre?
Yeah, almost. Welcome to the channel, by the way. Happy to have you all here. And as Simon just said, we are looking onto cybersecurity from a totally different angle. And this is precisely what I do. I look at everything from different angles.
Yeah, exactly. And, the cybersecurity industry has spent decades calling people the weakest link.
Yeah.
And we think they got it backwards.
Exactly.
And so people are not the vulnerability, they are the perimeter. But in my eyes, the people are the weakest link.
That sounds like a philosophical perspective onto it. Is it?
Yes, and also this is like the main idea of this podcast, the HumanPerimeter, because we will tackle many topics from in and outs. What could people do? Why they do it? How it can be prevented? And from those psychological and philosophical standpoints, which I think on the market or on the is not very talk about. Is only talk about you did not do that, the company did not do that, they haven't got that. But the core problem are not the systems, but the people. Do you agree?
I usually tend to disagree.
That's good.
And I think what we already have is a quite sophisticated technology, and that is available at our fingertips. We can make systems pretty secure, but on the other hand, there is the laziness of people. There's some people seem to be reluctant to think. And this is what I say constantly. And I think this is one of the main issues, what you mean when you say people are the weakest link. The reason is, if you want to make something convenient, then it is no longer secure. And I think this should be the sweet spot of this podcast, because what we are talking about is how can we think differently about cybersecurity? What can we do differently? Because if people know what they are doing and realize what they are doing, then they can move from the end of the chain, not being the weakest link, but maybe not the strongest, but they could move up the ladder.
Yeah, that made complete sense. And you know that every major breach follows the same script. Not some genius exploits or zero-day nobody saw coming. 99%, it always starts with a person. Someone clicks a link, someone reuses a password, someone trusts the voice on the phone that sounds exactly like the boss. Because now it can, the technology keeps getting better and the firewalls get smarter.
That's right. And we should mix that with some topics from practice. And I have some stories I could share with the audience from what I learned from highly regulated industries like the financial industry. Yeah. I worked several years in the financial industry. And I have some quite weird discussions with security officers within financial institutions. So that could be intriguing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. In the future episodes, that will be nice topics to talk about. And so this was like brief introduction what the HumanPerimeter podcast will be. And I think now we should introduce or I should introduce Andre and to the audience and all the people who are listening or watching this. So, do I have your permission to introduce you, Andre?
Yep, sure. Go ahead.
All right. So, Andre Daus is an independent consultant based in Cologne, Germany, and you spent over 20 years getting organizations to confront questions they would rather skip, which is interesting. And your background is in banking and financial risk. You built reputation on one thinking, walking into a room and asking why everyone assumed they were safe. And you also practicing or applying the red team thinking, not in a technical penetration testing sense, but in the adversarial mindset that stress test assumptions before reality does. Can you tell us a little bit more about this, because this is not very well known thing to do?
Yeah, I did that since I was a child. And a couple of years ago, I was introduced to some people who did red team thinking. And it was the first time that someone gave that kind of thinking a name, which was red team thinking. And this is not red teaming, not what we know from cybersecurity, where someone is pen testing something, but it comes from thinking. That's the reason why it is in the name. So red team thinking is something that has been developed by the US Army, because the US Army realized during the Iraq War that it didn't work as well as they thought it would. And so they analyzed it, and they started to realize that many people who were on the front have had much more information than the ones who were in the back, the generals in the Pentagon. And they didn't have all the information available to make better decisions. And red team thinking brings this together into the business world. So that is contrarian thinking, like I would like to call it, or like I used to do it in my own business as strategic opposition. I think that term catches it even better.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you host an Iconoclast Insights, a podcast with challenging conventional thinking in business and society, right?
Yes, that's right. Sometimes I just stumble upon things where I ask myself, why are people precisely doing that? And this is what I then challenge and ask these uncomfortable questions, and sometimes have different perspectives onto these topics than the regular users have. And I share all these findings and ideas on my podcast, which is called Iconoclast Insights. Yep.
Yeah. I remember I was listening the episode about the Santa Claus, and man, it got me to think.
I challenge Santa Claus, yes.
I think everyone should go listen and check the Iconoclast podcast. I think there will be some topics that can open your mind really heavily on some topics.
Yeah, I challenge everything, especially some cybersecurity topics sometimes, but AI topics recently a lot. Yeah, that's what I do.
One question I have to ask you: will AI bubble pop?
It depends on what popping means. I think
the same like with .com bubble.
We had a saying from our former Chancellor Angela Merkel, and she said, let's see if this internet thing will hold up. It still does. And I think it will be quite similar with AI. So AI is also quite new. Some people ask, will it pop? Others say, no, it won't. It would never will. It will change how we interact with information technology. And I also think that it won't go away, and we need to deal with it. As always, we need to adapt.
Yeah, perfect. And I think, my honest opinion, I think the AI bubble will definitely pop, because as we know, the history lessons, every overinflated bubbles, they will pop. I don't think it's gonna be this year, but now we can start seeing things going to that top, and then we'll pop.
We will challenge that topic across the episodes of this podcast, and then we will see where we'll land next year.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. So just let me introduce Simon. Simon is, I sometimes ask myself, how do I pronounce your name correctly? I think it's Simon Gajdosik, right?
Yes, in Slovakia, but
Yeah.
So
he's from Slovakia, and I think for most people it's easier to call him just Simon, as I will also do.
Simon says, everyone knows,
Well, I will challenge that.
Okay, good, great.
But okay, so having that sorted, Simon runs Webnestify, which is a managed cloud and security company serving agencies and businesses across the world. He has spent years on the infrastructure side of cybersecurity, which is why he's here, right? He was building servers, locking them down, cleaning up when things go sideways, and he started Webnestify Education because he kept watching the same pattern. People got hit by attacks that 5 minutes of training could have prevented. And I think actually the podcast was also an idea that came out of this education, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So Simon announced this his education idea in a community forum where we both were part of. And I reacted to this post and I asked him, what about creating a podcast? And he said, let's do it. And the result of that was the HumanPerimeter podcast, as you are just watching or listening right now.
Yeah, that was, because the main idea behind Webnestify Education is to make cybersecurity a human right. And also, I have one big goal here in Slovakia and then go globally. I want to make a cybersecurity a class in a primary school mandatory, right? Along the IT, and this is also the main goal. I want to, because people need to learn cybersecurity from the very beginning.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? Because when we think about it, today a phishing email or an unpatched plugin or a personal laptop used for company work with no separation at all. So
on unsecured home network with
it doesn't matter actually. And the damage that this can cause is always real and it's almost always avoidable. I think this is a quite bold statement. And adding cybersecurity to primary schools, I think that's precisely the right way. Because I know, at least from Germany, where I live, when schools talk about digital transformation, they usually mean creating a paper sheet into a PDF document and use that on an iPad.
Yeah,
that's how digital transformation looks like in Germany right now. But we are not looking on Germany as well, because you work globally, right?
Yeah.
So how should then the educational thing start? Just start locally and then grow globally?
For now, I want to start locally in this market, but also I will have online content and also with other languages, because I will have partners who also want to educate in other countries, US, France, Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, Germany. So the online part will be around the world, and also I want workshops for now start around Europe and maybe some conferences like Cloudfest next year. Is a lot of things I want to achieve, but for now, of course, I will start here locally and the online content, this podcast and other educational, which I will announce soon on my main Webnestify channel. And it's gonna be a lot of work. It is non-profit organization. Everything will be visible. You can check the bank statements, you can donate, everything will be there, so we can check it, and everything will be used for this purpose, because the marketing materials, the brochures, the spaces for workshops, it ain't cheap. Yeah, I can support it from my main business. That's completely normal, but yeah, if we want to get the word, it needs to be as non-profit organization.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I love the idea. Definitely.
And I know it's possible because today we had a conference with ESET, the biggest cybersecurity provider in Slovakia. Their software is used everywhere in the world in big enterprises. And we have the partners tour, and I was talking with the leaders from ESET about this, and they said they also was thinking about that, but yeah, I think we need to get a big petition, like 1-2 million signs, go to EU Parliament, and let's do it there. And it's possible. It's possible. It takes time, courage, and endurance, because it's not going to happen overnight. But I think with everyone around us, they can help, and we can achieve it.
Yeah. So the good news for all our listeners and viewers right now is that you don't have to do the work. You just have to subscribe to this podcast, and then you get not all the hard work. You just can ripe the fruits, right?
Yeah.
And whatever we will learn on this way in our discussions, we will share in this podcast. And since we have now two different perspectives, one from the technical IT side, one from the psychological side, I think that will be quite interesting for everyone, because it works in everyday life and in business life.
Definitely, it's going to be very educational. There are going to be some topics that we will cover, some really hard topics, difficult to talk about, because cybersecurity is not always about the money. It can also put human life in a risk, unfortunately. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of topics that we want to cover. It will be basically unscripted. We got some things to cover, some talking points, but it will be very educational, and I think you will learn a lot from us, from this podcast. And yeah, what's the schedule? How often we will do this podcast?
I think there's one thing that is important, because this is not a regular podcast. What we plan with this podcast, even this one is not, but the future episodes will be live. And that means if you are tuning in while we are live, then you can ask questions directly within the podcast. And I actually don't know another podcast who does that.
I see.
So that, I think that is a huge benefit and something new. And you can see that we don't avoid anything that is difficult. We just take it as it is, and we take the hard way in this respect.
Yeah, so basically, like the main part of on the live stream and the podcast afterwards will be the main topic. Then we will have some window for users' questions, and then also at the end we will have some actionable items or actionable things that you can do straight away right now to improve your own security.
Yeah. And how often will we do that?
I think we can every 2 weeks, regular time, so viewers know when to book slot in calendar for their live stream or podcast. And yeah, every 2 weeks would be nice.
Yeah. So like fortnightly.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I know that many podcasters produce weekly, but this is a lot of work, and we will see how it goes. So we will start with a bi-weekly schedule. And what do you think? How long would one episode take?
It really depends up to the topic. If some topic will be really difficult to talk, but usually 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 45 minutes. 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 1 hour, 30 to 60 minutes, maximum 75. If people will be there and if anyone wants to contribute with questions and those kind of things, we'll see. There's no like set time. Okay, 60 minutes done. No. It's not like that.
Yeah. And I think if someone has questions and send us questions to an episode, we can pick them up either during the live stream or afterward in another episode.
Yeah, and you don't need to pay for your questions like other streamers do or podcasters. So yeah.
I think that's it. If you are interested in this podcast and want to be notified about when new episodes come out, when we plan to go live the next time, you can subscribe to our newsletter, which is not really a newsletter. It is an information about this podcast. If you just go on to HumanPerimeter.com, and then you can just subscribe and you will get notified whenever we go live or when anything changes or when there is something that needs to be shared with the community as well.
All right. And do we have like socials to people can share something like LinkedIn or Facebook or something?
We have at least the YouTube channel.
Okay.
And we have the Spotify.
Okay. I think for now we can keep it that way. We don't want to get burned out. Soon. We want to keep this running. So we will see what demand we tell if you want some other communities or something. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, I think that's it for this introduction episode about the human perimeter. And yeah, that's
just like and subscribe.
Just like and subscribe. I think everyone knows what to do, right? Because I hate to say that also in my videos, but unfortunately you have to. Even that not help, but yeah.
It's a call to action. The world is full of call to actions.
Yeah.
So as the malicious users on the internet in cybersecurity do. Click this kitten video.
Click this kitten video, then you're gonna get bananas. Yes.
So great. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the first real episode then.
See you also in the first real episode.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.